Hi, this is Glenn with Crimson Lotus Tea. We are back in Kunming. We're going to take you on a tour of one of the largest tea markets in the world. This is the Jinshi Tea Market. It's on the north side of Kunming. And there's a couple other tea markets in China that are larger than it, but this is definitely in the top 5 and certainly the largest in Yunnan. We've spent a lot of time in here. There's probably more than 1,000 shops here. So it's kind of separated into to 2 sides. So the side over here is tea, and then the side over here is kind of more focused on teaware, and we're going to be exploring that one in a different video. But for this one, we're gonna dig around the tea market and see what we can find. There usually definitely is a lot of traffic here, and so if you have a vehicle, it's somewhat tricky to get here. Not too hard to get here by bus. So this is at the very north end of the city, on where Beijing Road meets the second ring road. If you're staying in Kunming, you could probably get your hotel to drive you here. There's a handful of buses. They can get you here as well. You can even just grab a taxi and tell them you want to go to the Jinshi Chaya Shachang, which is a Jinshi tea wholesale market, and you'll get here. I mean, you can see behind me some of the different shops and stuff. I mean, there's just tea everywhere. They continue to build this stuff. Every single year that we get here, it's just bigger and bigger and bigger and higher and taller, and they just keep building up and up and up. Even right now, you can look behind me. There's tons more construction there, and that's just going to be more and more tea shops. And it's kind of amazing. You could be here for a long time and not really see everything that you needed to see or wanted to see. Most of the shops are actually pretty helpful, pretty friendly. You can just kind of like walk into one and just kind of look around, see what's going on, see if they're brewing some tea, ask to try stuff. There's no real incentive to buy, but it's certainly nice to do that. Maybe just like a cake or something, or buy some samples or something like that. A lot of the shops have certain specialties. Maybe they'll be representing of a linsang, or representative of a certain tea company or tea factory. Almost all the big companies are represented here. So even some shops are specializing in like black tea, and other shops. I mean, most shops specialize in Puerh, but you certainly have other ones. They'll also import tea from other areas, and they can sell those in different shops and stuff here. It's definitely a lot of fun to just dig around and see what you can find. You can see how many layers are up there. There's a bunch, and it just keeps going higher and higher. Every year they just keep building taller and taller. This tea shop's been around, or this market's been around since the early 2000s. It actually smells really nice in here right now. The other side is primarily teaware, but this one certainly has some bunch of tea shops as well. There's some a teaware shop over there. So we're going to find a shop to go into and chat with them and maybe try some tea. All right, so this tea shop is fairly typical. They specialize in pu'er. Obviously, you can see thousands of pressed cakes all up and down, and but they also have a lot of loose material as well. A handful of different stuff. Not all of this stuff is from Yunnan. Here's something that you're going to see that's really popular in a lot of places now. Well, see, these are some of your rolled type balls and stuff, except these ones are probably more handmade, a little higher quality than you might find in a grocery store. They do a lot of stuff with natural flowers and stuff. So these are sometimes these get blended and pressed into different cakes of pu'er. These are little tiny roses, larger rosebuds and stuff. And man, what is this? I think this is like a dragon fruit, right? Is that what this is? Pretty cool. I'll have to check. That's pretty awesome. Different pressed stuff, little tiny mini churros, some silver needle things, a bunch of different grades of pu'er and stuff that you could actually buy yourself and take it loose, or have it pressed and stuff like that. And then just like tons of stacks of stuff everywhere. So it's definitely on the buyer to know what they want and what your taste and flavor is, and because there's a lot of tea that isn't really worth drinking in this market. But there's Lamu. Say hi, Lamu. Hello. Baby Gemma. But yeah, so like I said, it's definitely you got to dig. You got to dig to find the good stuff. It's not just going to come out right at you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try some of their tea and see what they got. This is a Puerh from this year. It's from Ibang, and we're gonna give it a try. It actually smells really nice. So this tea is the first spring picking. It's from trees maybe about 100 years old, a little bit older than that. It's actually really nice and clear, and the aroma's nice. The flavor's actually pretty fruity. It's got a decent amount of body to it. This is a fairly enjoyable tea. People are really generous with their tea here, which is certainly nice to see. In fact, sometimes we've got a bunch of different friends in the market, and we'll go and we'll visit them, and they won't actually be there because they're all out drinking tea at other people's shops. And sometimes somebody will get some like new tea, and he'll message everybody on WeChat. Everybody runs to his shop, and they try some new tea that they've gotten and they've picked up there. And so it's really nice to be able to see that, and it's nice to be able to visit people again every single year and create longer, deeper relationships with them and try the new teas that they've got. And they're pretty excited about this one from Ibang, and I can see why. It's pretty nice. Yeah, it's not too bitter, not too strong, but it's quite pleasant actually. We actually have a Dai shop here. You will see them everywhere. The interesting thing about Dai shops is that none of them are actually owned by Dai. It works on a sort of a franchise basis. And it's really kind of strange. It's almost kind of like Mary Kay or something like that in the U.S. You can't just call Dai and be like, hey, I'd like to buy this, and then buy it. Dai basically just sends shops whatever, and you have to pay for it, whatever it is. It's kind of weird. So you could go to 10 different Dai shops and find that they have an entirely different type of inventory. Side note, these are the restrooms right here. They are horrifically nasty. There's only two in the entire market, and they actually charge you for the privilege of going into that horribly nasty place. Turns out the restrooms are owned and operated by a relative of the person who owns the entire market, and every single person here actually has to pay. Every single vendor has to pay. We talked to one, they said in a given year they probably spend $300 or $400 US to go to the restrooms. You sit here, you drink tea all day long, and you have to go to the bathroom a lot. I have spent my fair share of money. Yeah, sure, it only costs you maybe like 25-30 cents US or something like that, but that adds up. You sit here drinking tea all day, you go to the bathroom several times, $1 here, $2 there, and yeah, so people that run the restrooms make a ton of money in this market. This market's actually really big. It's misleadingly large. You can just continue to drive around. This is actually one parking lot that is in the middle of it, but it's not even really worth it to try and park in here. If you have a car, it's easier just to try to find a place to park on the street. They will charge you though. They do that, and that actually kind of adds up. There's no real front to the market, and there's no real back to the market. There's entrances all around it. There's a couple different gates you can go in. But so we are here in another tea shop, and I'm going to kind of show around some of the stuff. This is actually a Hailang House tea shop. You may know some of his teas if you're really into Puerh. He's a really awesome guy. I like hanging out with him. He's super generous, and we're going to check out some of what he's got and see how his shop's going. It's got a bunch of different productions from different years. You'll see a lot of the tea shops here actually wrap their display stuff in plastic, which is a really nice thing. It's pretty easy to write notes on the outside of it, and kind of keeps it. Just really kind of helps. Sometimes things can get a little bit too dry here, so wrapping in plastic is certainly an advantage. So we actually brought some of our own tea to share today, and this is some really cool like mini mushrooms. It's a tiny little Puerh. This is a custom blend of a couple different vintages of Puerh from Nanwang. There's some stuff, some younger stuff, and even some material as old as 20 years. These are really cool. I really enjoy drinking these, and so we brought some of them to share today. We're gonna put these on the site as soon as we can. They're quite tasty. It brews up nice and thick and dark, and it's quite enjoyable. And this is about 4 to 5 grams per one, so it's really nice for a simple session, or you can actually toss 2 in a Gaiwan brew like really strong. As often happens, we get distracted and we're here far too long, and then the market starts to close. So everything's closing up now. Everybody kind of like calls off here around like 6 o'clock or something, so we're heading on our way out. It's interesting. I mean, every single time we come back here, the market's bigger than it was before. Even we come back just a couple months from now, and everything would be bigger. It's interesting to see things continue to grow. The market kind of has one issue right now, and that's that as Yunnan itself grows and the infrastructure for Yunnan itself gets bigger and better, it's a market like this doesn't have as much necessity if individual people can actually get out to the tea mountains much more easily. So as like I said, as the infrastructure in Yunnan grows bigger and bigger and bigger, the roles of large markets like this aren't as strong, and so they've actually started to see some decline in the amount of traffic and stuff that comes here. Interesting question. Like how with like 1,000 shops, like how does one actually differentiate themselves? And to be honest, they actually don't. What they will do is most of the business they get here is from friends and family and people they already know, established, things like that. And so this is basically just like a gathering, a meeting place. It's not necessarily intentionally used as it's not specifically used as a more of a retail space. So this is more of just like a shop and a place to do business, a place to brew tea for people who want to be brewing tea. Customers come and stuff like that, so they don't really have to worry about it from a retail perspective, and that's kind of how they do business. Because you come here at a market like this and you're like, how the hell do people actually like find what shop to buy tea from? And realistically is you don't. Most of the people that actually do business with these people already know them. But you can from a tourist perspective, you can certainly spend some time walking around the markets. People will be nice and people will be friendly, and if they're not, just walk to the next shop. So that's it. We're gonna try and do the Songdao Market next, and hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Here's a Kunming pro tip I'll leave you with after a long day of drinking tea. It's a fairly awesome Irish bar, just a couple kilometers, maybe just about a kilometer north of the tea market, and it's awesome. And they have amazing burgers and fairly decent beer. So O'Reilly's right there. Go to the tea market, drink tea all day, walk a kilometer or so north, and you'll be at this awesome Irish pub. And see you guys next week.